Well, firstly, you just share like a little bit of background about your struggle. I don't know, like what you went through. So
Well, I had testicular cancer, and it was February 2012, and I went to the actually to the emergency room because I noticed something that was a little different
yeah,
than what it had normally been, and they actually did something called a sonogram of my testicles, which is sort of like what they do when women are pregnant. To look at the baby,
right.
and they noticed that there was a mass there, so there was something that shouldn't be in it that was in there. So they sent me to a urologist, which is a doctor that messes with those parts of the body,
Yeah.
and he diagnosed me through those tests, and I had surgery a week later, and which when you have testicular cancer and they do surgery, they have to remove the entire testicle, whichever one is affected. For me, it was the left one, so they removed that, and they were sent it away for a pathology test to see what it was, and it turned out to be what they call seminoma testicular cancer, which is a slower growing kind. And they did more testing, more scans of my body to see if it had metastasized or spread to another location, which it had not. So then I went to Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore for additional testing, and I actually ended up not needing any chemotherapy or radiation,
Oh, wow.
but I monitored every 4 months just to make sure that everything's
Yeah.
still good. Yep.
That's good for you then. You're lucky.
Yeah.
Well, well, what do you think provided the most help and treatment? Like, I guess you didn't have it for that long, so it wasn't like a long struggle. But
Right, right. Well, what a lot of people make jokes that I only had cancer for 6 days because I found that we got it removed. But I think when you're diagnosed with cancer, no matter what type of cancer it is,
right.
you always question if you're going to die. You know,
Yeah.
if this is going to kill you. If this does kill you, how are you going to die? Or what are your struggles going to be? Luckily, I've met a lot of people who've had testicular cancer through this and the struggles that they've gone through treatment and things like that. And a couple of things I can tell you is, you know, treatment today versus treatment 20 or 30, 40 years ago is much more, I guess, personalized in the sense that not one size fits all for treatment.
Right.
So people get treatment based upon their cancer and based upon their own makeup. So a lot of people just need the support of their friends and family. And I think one of the biggest things is you get a lot of people who support you at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as you go through it and near the end, less and less people are there. It's like at the beginning there's this big push of, oh, we need to be there. But I think what some people don't realize is that you need support throughout the whole thing, even
Right.
all the way to the end.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think being able to meet people who've suffered the same thing that I had was important.
Awesome. Well, I guess it's the same kind of. How much did you get any help from any like outside organizations or any? Did you contact any of them or anything?
I did not get any assistance from outside organizations, but because of the testicular cancer, I'm not part of organizations.
Oh yeah.
So, like the American Cancer Society, I do Relay for Life. I'm get a team raise money for that. There's something called the Testicular Cancer Foundation and the Testicular Cancer Society. I'm members of that in helping primarily for prevention and people to realize what to look for and things for what guys need to look for
Right.
in those areas, because testicular cancer is primarily a young man's cancer. So between the ages of 15 and like 39 is the big
Oh, wow.
boom. After 40, typically you don't see it as much. So I was diagnosed at 29, like right in the middle of that range, and a lot of guys don't want to talk about it. You
Yeah.
know, they don't want to address the fact that, hey, one, I had cancer in a really private part of my body, and two, part of it's now gone.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to talk about it. So being part of organizations and helping people out. So one of the big things that I've done is the organizations are really big on Facebook. So when gentlemen are diagnosed, we can help them, support them, talk them through things, and let them know that, you know, everything will ultimately work out as long as, you know, they follow the doctor's orders.
Yeah. Cool. Well, out of again back to organizations, like what you're with the Testicular Cancer Society and the foundation. What I guess would they be your favorite like organizations? Like, are those just the ones you've contacted or?
I have to say, you know, I'm big with the American Cancer Society, which deals with all types of cancer.
Right.
But the Testicular Cancer Society, the Testicular Cancer Foundation, are really important because they are targeted towards that one specific male cancer,
Right.
which I find to be really helpful. American Cancer Society is great. They have lots of money, do lots of research and funding for clinical trials, and they're wonderful. But when it comes down to specific cancers, you want to deal with an organization that knows specifically about what you're dealing with, the things you're going through, and they're really good with that. And they have survivors that go out there and talk to people who are struggling now or people who are newly diagnosed. So they're really important.
Awesome. Well, how important do you think it is to raise awareness of the issue? Like you said that like a lot of people just either don't talk about it or don't know. For like not only people like males, but also like do you think it's important for like others to know too? Because your wife or
right, absolutely. First part of that question is, or the answer to that would be, it's really important for men to not be ashamed to talk about their private parts.
Yeah.
I mean, because you see so much now about breast cancer, like save the tatas and all that stuff everywhere, and women are always talking about breast cancer and doing their monthly breast exams, which is wonderful. And so men, what we do through the Testicular Cancer Society is, hey, you need to also do monthly self-exams of your testicles from 15 on up, and typically from puberty-ish on up. And the funny thing is, men touch their testicles all the time.
Yeah.
But they don't tell anybody about it. If they find something weird, they sort of brush it off, or, oh, I hurt myself, or I did something when I was playing around, whatever. So you just need to be more comfortable in knowing what they feel like. And I know that sounds weird, but that's really what it is what get this baseline of what they feel like to you. And so if you feel any changes in them, because changes can be really subtle, an enlargement, a lump, tenderness, feeling inconsistency, like it gets harder if it gets diseased, those kinds of things. So, but it's also important for women to know these things, because if you have a partner, and they, will be around them, they see something different, they need to let you know. Yeah. So it's important for everybody, not just for men to know about it, but for women to realize it, especially for their partners and their spouse or whatever.
Great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Okay. Well, lastly, what would, in your opinion, what do you think would be some tactics for like a group that wants to get involved to help testicular cancer that would either raise awareness or anything to benefit?
One thing I could say is the doctors say the best time for men to examine their testicles is in the shower. That's when you're taking a warm shower and the muscles in your body are more relaxed, so the testicles are lower. And so shower hangers, there's waterproof shower hangers that you see like in hotel rooms that say, put your dirty clothes in this corner, or hang this up if you don't want to be awakened in the morning to have your bed changed or whatever. Just hang them like in locker rooms, hey, here's the 3 steps to check your testicles. Step 1 this, step 2 this, step 3 this is what it feels like. On the top of the testicle it feels lumpy because that's something called the epididymis, which is you don't typically have to worry about. It's the lower part. Steps on what to look for. So shower hangers like that. But just talking to people like I do, because some people get very uncomfortable talking about testicles. I don't know why. I mean, it's like you've seen one pair, you've seen them all. But people guys are really, really, really shy about that. Yeah. About even going to the doctor, when the doctor tells you to remove your clothes so he can examine you, do like a physical, you're like, ugh, you don't want to do that. It's like it could save your life. It's I can tell you this: when I first went to the doctor for this issue, I didn't like taking my clothes off for doctors to examine my private parts. Now it's like whatever, I don't care, because so many people have, and you just get over that. But to tell guys, because I don't think a lot of young guys know that this is the prime cancer for them.
Yeah, there's no. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to get cancer in college, you're more likely to get testicular cancer than any other cancer. Even though you're not likely to get testicular cancer, it's still a rare cancer. 1% to 2% of men will be affected by it. But if you do get affected by cancer in college, most likely it would be a testicular cancer. We have a couple guys on campus who have had it, who are survivors now or who have graduated. that they just don't want to talk about it. So just being open, have an open conversation. Girls don't care about talking about breast cancer anymore. Guys shouldn't worry about testicular cancer. Being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
We still need to worry about it.
Yeah.
One thing is, it doesn't make you any less of a man. You can still have babies.
Yeah.
You know. One thing a lot of guys don't realize is that when they remove a testicle, the other one picks up production. So the testosterone, sperm, those kinds of things are automatically adjusted by the other one.
Right, right.
So it's like, you know, we were made just right. If you lose one, the other one fixes everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, the shower hangers in the locker rooms, flyers. I know I've seen a couple organizations take pink balloons and don't blow them up, but just tie like a little note to them and put them on cars. So a pink balloon, not blown up, sort of looks like a scrotum.
Yeah.
You know, so you know those kinds of things. It's okay to have fun with it, because some
Yeah.
people feel like, oh well, maybe if I make fun of it, people will think that that's disrespectful, and that's not it at all. Whatever it takes to get people to realize,
Right.
you just need to be in touch with your body, and
Yeah.
and that's literally touch your body, see what's not right, and then get help as soon as you can.
Cool.
Yep. So that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.